To understand the book of Genesis, we have to look at the world it was born into. In the ancient Near East, the divine realm was understood to be chaotic, violent, and driven by petty rivalries. If you read the Enuma Elish, an ancient Babylonian origin myth, you find a cosmic battleground where gods fight and kill one another for supremacy. In this mythological system, humanity is an afterthought. According to the text, the gods created humans from the blood of a slain rival, specifically to serve as their disposable slaves. For an ancient person, life was viewed through this lens. You were a pawn caught in a crossfire between powerful, apathetic deities who demanded your labor and offered nothing in return. The opening lines of Genesis land in that cultural landscape as a total rebellion. Instead of a war in heaven, the God of Genesis brings order out of chaos through speech alone. The universe is spoken into existence in peace, with zero divine bloodshed. And humans are not created as slaves from the blood of a defeated enemy. They are formed from the dust, made to be partners bearing the divine image, and placed in a garden with equal dominion over the earth. Creating humanity in a peaceful paradise is a beautiful idea, but the real test of a deity's character comes when the humans ruin that paradise. When humanity rebels against their creator, how this God reacts will permanently separate him from ancient expectations. In the Genesis narrative, it doesn't take long for Adam and Eve to break the partnership. They eat from the forbidden tree, fracturing their relationship with God and introducing chaos. If you asked a Babylonian what a god would do next, the answer would be obvious. A typical ancient deity would instantly annihilate these rebellious slaves to protect their own wounded pride. But the Genesis account goes in a different direction. Modern readers often misinterpret God's response in Genesis 3 as a petty punishment, assuming he institutes the harsh subjugation of women as payback. But a closer look at the structure of the Hebrew text, mapped out here, identifies who the text actually targets. The author places a formal curse solely on the serpent, establishing a cosmic enmity against evil itself. The painful realities assigned to humanity, like toil in farming and pain in childbirth, are framed as the natural, inevitable consequences of a broken world, not acts of divine revenge. Before exiling the humans from Eden, God personally makes clothes to cover their shame. He protects them from eating from the tree of life in their corrupted state, and he promises that a future offspring will eventually crush the serpent. Even in the face of betrayal, this God balances justice with compassion. He provides for the very people who just broke his heart. This pattern of human failure and divine mercy accelerates as the text moves to the patriarchs. Take Jacob. His defining character traits are deceit and manipulation. He exploits his brother Esau's hunger to steal his birthright, then lies to his blind father to hijack the family blessing. When his brother vows to kill him, Jacob is forced to flee into the desert as a fugitive. By any metric of human merit, Jacob merits rejection and abandonment. A holy God has every right to reject a liar and a cheat. Instead, God intervenes in a dream. But he doesn't show up to condemn Jacob or demand an apology. He appears to offer a self-binding promise. God tells this fugitive that he will be with him, protect him wherever he goes, and eventually bring him back to inherit the land. He promises that Jacob's descendants will multiply like the dust of the earth. Jacob did nothing to earn this. God's interaction with him contradicts the idea that divine favor requires moral perfection. Then there is Judah. He refuses to fulfill his legal duty to his widowed daughter-in-law, Tamar. When she resorts to desperate measures to secure her rights, Judah publicly condemns her until she proves that he is the man involved. The authors of Genesis make a deliberate editorial choice here. They could have censored the scandals of Israel's founding fathers to make them look like pristine heroes. They leave every brutal detail intact. God does not excuse Judah's hypocrisy, but Judah is ultimately chosen to lead the family line because, when confronted with his sin, he takes responsibility for his guilt. He publicly admits Tamar is more righteous than he is. God builds his legacy using deeply flawed individuals who fail, own their guilt, and repent. This subverts the ancient trope of the mythical hero. The overarching narrative style of Genesis is brutally honest. It is a catalog of sibling rivalry, deceit, and familial trauma. When we read a religious text today, we expect a parenting manual. We assume we are supposed to find flawless moral exemplars to emulate. The ancient authors intentionally avoided that trap. By exposing the severe imperfections of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and their children, the text strips away human pride. It makes it impossible to claim that Israel earned its status through personal achievement. Genesis is not a story about human greatness. The messy truth of the patriarchs exists to highlight how consistently great God is. The ultimate legacy of the book of Genesis is the introduction of a God whose core character is defined by relentless, relational faithfulness. This is a creator who descends into the mess of human history. He binds himself to treacherous, broken people who continually let him down. He patiently works with this family, not to establish an exclusive club, but as the specific vehicle to eventually bring blessing and redemption to the entire world. The physical world found its beginning here, alongside the origin of grace.